I'm just trying to decide if I'm comfortable even talking about that.
This one's wife. The recruits who deserted her. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I've made it plain on many occasions that the narcissist simply sees people as appliances. You are objectified, and your role is to be controlled. You are there to provide fuel to the narcissist. You are there to provide character traits. You are there to provide residual benefits. You are not regarded as a person in your own right. You are simply there to function for the needs and requirements of the narcissist. This means that with many individuals, they are subjected to what is known as the shelf dynamic, whereby the narcissist picks them up, utilizes them, and then pops them back on the shelf, and then may not bother with them for hours, days, months, or even years. Nevertheless, the narcissist has, through their sense of entitlement, an inalienable right to return to you as and when is required to obtain what they need from you. And you must provide it, for if you do not, that makes you a treacherous and awful person, and you become painted black, and the manipulations that are meted out as against you by way of malign manipulations are entirely merited, and you deserved it. Remember, you asked for this. Those of you who have listened to my work for some time know that I divide appliances up into 3 levels: tertiary, secondary, and primary. It is the secondary appliance, the secondary source, that is most subjected to the shelf dynamic. Secondary sources include friends, family, colleagues, neighbours, affair partners, somebody that the narcissist is dating. The narcissist picks you up and puts you down as the narcissist deems appropriate within the structure of the narcissistic dynamic, as I have explained elsewhere. That means that friends only remain useful to the narcissist for a certain period of time. And if you don't hear from the narcissist, it means that either you've not come up on the narcissist's radar, or if you have, the narcissism has decided there was no need to hoover you because you could be controlled by the narcissist staying in a position of withdrawal, and the narcissist didn't need your fuel, character traits, or residual benefits. Unlike a non-narcissist who has a sense of obligation and nourishes and nurtures and maintains a relationship, the narcissist only does so to the extent that it benefits them. Otherwise, it can go hang in the wind. But it's also the case that certain secondary sources may well become wise to the way that the narcissist behaves, that they realize they only ever get in contact with me when they need something. Whenever I need anything, they go missing. They forget my birthday. They didn't support me when my husband left me. When I've called them, they don't pick up the phone. I haven't heard from them in months. I'm the one that always has to make the effort. And it can be the case that certain secondary sources decide, I'm not going to put up with this any longer. I'm not going to be treated in this way, and they terminate the friendship. We have seen this happen also with this one's wife. As Ed Holt reports in the Daily Mail, it was the celebrity event of the year when Prince Harry and this one's wife said "I do" in May 2018. Evidently news about this one's wife is a little bit slack, so they're going back into the archives for this one, but it does at least provide me with a useful opportunity to explain another aspect of the way that the narcissist behaves. While royal weddings are often a who's who of A-listers, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's matrimony had more of a Tinseltown sparkle than any previous union. George and Amal Clooney, the cast of Suits, and Oprah Winfrey were just some of the Hollywood guests in St. George's Chapel. Although many famous faces from across the pond were there as friends of this one's wife, it has been claimed that the Duchess was not very chummy with the stars. Now, pausing there, that's entirely correct. Many of these guests were not actual friends of this one's wife, even within the narcissistic sense. They were simply invited because it enabled this one's wife to triangulate the world with the relevant guest to say, look how important and special I am. I've got George and Amal Clooney coming to my wedding. You must react to that and therefore provide me with fuel. Naturally, she doesn't think in those exact terms because she's an unaware narcissist, but that is what is actually going on. Furthermore, her narcissism hoovers these guests with a view to obtaining character traits from them, residual benefits with the prospect of potentially using these individuals to further the prime aims, of this one's wife. For instance, involving Oprah to try and strike up a friendship for the purposes of thereafter utilising that friendship for increasing her fame, facilitating her grudges, and making money, as was the case in respect of the bombshell interview of 2021. The report continues by explaining the attendants were not this one's wife's nearest and dearest, but rather the friends she most wanted to recruit, Royal Insider Tina Brown wrote in her book, The Palace Papers. The celebrity guests were a portrait not of this one's wife's intimate circle, but of the friends she most wanted to recruit. Even Oprah had scarcely met this one's wife before the big day, and when the columnist Rachel Johnson asked the Clooneys how they knew this one's wife, the couple replied, "We don't." Since Harry and this one's wife stood down as working royals in 2020, however, this one's wife has struggled to recruit the friends she was so keen to make. In other words, they've distanced themselves from her and deserted her. Amal attended this one's wife's lavish £221,000 New York baby shower in 2019. However, in recent years, the lawyer has only deepened her ties with the royals by launching the Amal Clooney Women's Empowerment Award with the King's Trust, and has never been seen further with this one's wife. Evidently, Amal Clooney is no fool and recognises that it's not a good look to remain linked to this one's wife, and has instead moved in the opposite direction by strengthening her ties to the royal family. After her notorious interview with Oprah in 2021, it doesn't appear that the pair have been in contact much since. Oprah wasn't one of the guests that this one's wife booked for her Netflix series with Love Meghan, which again demonstrates that Oprah saw the sense in distancing herself. Indeed, the calibre of stars on the lifestyle programme lacked much of the Hollywood glamour that this one's wife was attempting to project at her wedding. It's simply the case that she struggled to get people in for the show. It had been expected that she would use the likes of Oprah, Serena Williams, Tyler Perry, who is godfather to Princess Lilibet, but instead she could only muster up Suits co-star Abigail Spencer, Delfina Figueres, who's basically Harry's boyfriend's wife, and chef Roy Choi. It demonstrates how many of these individuals who attended the wedding and were involved with this one's wife earlier have recognised that there's little to be gained by remaining involved with her. Now, it's less the case with these individuals that they will have thought to themselves, hang on a minute, I'm always the one making the effort with the relationship here, she forgot on my birthday, she doesn't call, etc. And more likely to be the case of, I've noticed that she only ever bothers me when she wants something. And furthermore, I recognise that it's not a good look to be associated with this unpopular and toxic individual. That latter aspect is less of a concern for most secondary sources, because the person and narcissist that they're entangled with invariably isn't famous or well known. In those instances, it's more a case of recognising that they're being used, feeling let down, feeling that the relationship is one-sided, and in some instances, possibly being subjected to corrective devaluations which are abusive, and therefore they think to themselves, I'm out. With the more famous individuals, it's simply a case of them recognising she only involves me because she's using me, and also I don't see anything to be gained by remaining in contact with her because of her piss-poor reputation. This once again demonstrates the problem that this one's wife has. As I've explained so many times before, and I'll keep on telling you, her narcissism was superb at getting her into this privileged position, but absolutely fucking useless at keeping her there. And this is demonstrated once again with the number of famous individuals that she initially was able to draw to her, who have then distanced themselves from her, that want nothing to do with her. We've seen it with the Obamas, who she initially courted. They have backed off. And it's primarily the case with those that are famous that they've seen through her. They understand that their own reputations are worth more than maintaining any form of link or friendship with this one's wife. And once again, this one's wife's narcissism hasn't proven able enough to keep those people on board. They've sought to escape her. She has lacked the charisma, the humour, the interest, and the ability to maintain the relationships with these individuals. She has once again overstretched in terms of her ambitions, because quite simply, she's a mediocre individual, a mid-range type A narcissist, lacking talent, charisma, magnetism, and any semblance of actual ability. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.